its life. But we are loaded in, as you can see. Our first player in the Northeast position, the Red Terran player, multiple-time DreamHack champion and BlizzCon semifinalist. He is Liquid TaeJa.
And his opponents, hailing also from Korea, but training abroad, representing Yowie Flash Wolves, it's San. Or San. San.
Jeff, did you get a chance to see, by any chance, the games that San played versus Jachi at BlizzCon opening weekend?
I'm trying to think. I might have, but I don't remember them at all.
You know, I really like the comment from Artosis that, you know, Protoss things can happen. And anybody that tuned into that series would recall the cheesiest PvT perhaps played this year with some really gnarly aggressive moves from San. And I'm
Unless it started, if it didn't start with a cannon rush and end with DTs, then it's not the cheesiest.
Well, I mean, like the epic one-base contain where he actually had pylons and stalkers strung all the way around the entire main base area of Foxtrot, so that Jachi could never expand despite having stim and medevac.
That game inspired what Harding did in the finals of Home Story Cup as well. It's the proxy Oracle into one-base blink, like, and you hold them on that one base forever. Yeah, that is pretty cheesy.
Yeah. And that's what I'm really interested to see, because if San goes for that sort of play, then it becomes, you know, the pressure goes on to TaeJa to scout and react and prepare, and it's all execution on San's part, because as we've discussed already, TaeJa he's a really scary guy to go up against, especially the longer that the game goes on. Like, TaeJa is just not someone that really makes mistakes, and even this opener showing, like, yeah, okay, if you were going to try to do something really, really crazy, like a proxy gateway, it's something that you'd be weak to, but he's not expecting anything like that. And 2 barracks setup that you usually get after Command Center first gives you pretty solid Marine production to defend against any mid-game play like an Oracle.
And speaking of Oracle, that is dominating the meta right now for PvT. There's so many Protoss that are doing even proxy Oracle or even in-base Oracle, but it's just their control of that unit and the potential game-ending damage that it can do if you're not prepared is astronomical. I mean, you say game-ending and that is what it is. Going into the build, so as you can see, that is going to be that second barracks. And usually it's followed up with a third one or double gases, but again, because the meta is the way it is, there's even a chance in early eBay.
Usually the Terran will just use the SV building the second barracks to start the third, and to our discussion of the Oracle, the second gas is way too late for it to be that straight up. So very quick expansion out of San, which on this map, we've seen some cute plays here and there that usually don't come out of Command Center first, where Terrans will do this fast gas, go for a really quick shove because you can't get enough sentries or sentry energy to force field the very large entrance to the natural expansion. So TaeJa could be looking to put on a little bit of early pressure, or could just be looking to maybe get a fast factory. A couple players have done this here and there, but it's not super popular.
I feel like a lot of times when a Terran of TaeJa's level and just really around this tournament caliber level is opening up CC first, I feel like what they're broadcasting is like, I want to start off this best of 3 and see what you're doing. It's really kind of an open-ended opening. You don't do a super fast timing attack off of that. I mean, everything you said is true. You could do like little Marine push-outs, try to instigate the photon overcharge, that kind of thing, really pick up on what the Protoss is doing, but it's more of a like, San, what do you think about this best of 3? And to your point, with that late second gas, it is a proxy Oracle. There is that back pylon. We'll keep an eye on that in the main. That's kind of key for things like going, you know, putting a Twilight Council there or something. It's actually going to be Robo. But I like San opening up as well, because again, the reason TaeJa opens up so open-ended in a lot of these matches is because he is the final boss. He is the feared player. Like he's like, okay, you're going to cheese me, and I'm going to do a build that kind of receives all cheeses fairly well.
This is why I really love the way, like, TaeJa makes a tiny tweak, and we've seen only a handful of Terran players open up with the Reaper after the Command Center first.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Generally, the weakness of gasless expands is that you don't have good scouting tools. So TaeJa can look around, and worst comes to worst, throw this Reaper away into the base of San, just to try to get an idea of what he's doing without spending that precious energy off of his orbital command so that he can keep his mules mining away.
Well, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because it's actually such an underrated move. As it is right now, San will pick it up and deny it, at least in theory. Most of the scouting
he sees the Robo. He knows
about
as much as he needs to know. And we can see that there's a Robotics Bay coming in, which is a pretty standard follow-up for this sort of play. I don't think TaeJa's super worried about something along the lines of a Dark Templar drop or anything like that.
Well,
robotics facility.
Protoss does happen. He's always worried about that.
That's true. It would be a bit of a Protoss moment if he would have just pulled that one out of left field.
Well, that's where we pull a lot of our stuff. But it is, as you said, going to be Robotics Bay. No forges yet. No Twilight Council, look for those fairly soon. And this is something that's kind of coming back into circulation, by the way, is these really fast Colossus pushes. And we saw this back in even like the IPL days with Squirtle doing a lot of that. That dominated the meta, and it kind of went away, but here it is again. There's even the fast range. A lot of times if you're doing the macro version of this, you wait for the second Colossus. But with range now, he might actually even skip Twilight Council. He might skip Forges. He might just go for this.
Yeah, upgradeless PvT builds have actually really been picking up lately, and it's one of those interesting things where the Terran player tries to set themselves up to delay that third base, but the Protoss is comfortable to take it very late and still get that tech up without the upgrade. So keeping an eye on whether or not there are Forges added on is very important. 3 gates additional, so he's going up to a total of 6. It's not super all in yet, but he could very easily just power out Warpins off of this and go for, as you said, that big Colossus attack.
The snake is coiling Nathanius. I can sense it. I really would be weirded out by any kind of Forges or Twilight Council now. And again, this speaks to the map, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about at the beginning of the game how this map is really bad for taking a third, and a fourth beyond that is a dream. Of course, you'd like to do that, but on a map like this, it just doesn't really help you in that way. So doing a 2-base timing attack, it's predictable, but it seems to be the best way to play it.
Yeah, I think the third base is just so wide open. You don't want to take that chance if you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's a strong opening. This is the kind of build that can work out very well if you do it just right enough, and San doesn't seem to have hit too many blocks along the way. However, this pylon being immediately denied is a big step for TaeJa. You don't want the Protoss to have that close reinforcement point, especially when they're not playing around with any fast units like Charged Zealots or Blink Stalkers.
Vikings immediately queued up. The probe did not die, though. That's a really important moment there. If he picks off the probe, it delays this exponentially, 30, 40 seconds or something like that. But with the probe, it's just going to go ahead and remake him. 2 ships passing in the night. TaeJa's kind of out on the map, thinking he's the aggressor, and Sand's going to walk right up this ramp. There is a bunker SCV's being pulled. Second one trying to complete. No Vikings just yet. I think 2 have been made. This might be the 3rd and 4th coming out right now.
It's really important that TaeJa just buys himself as much time as he can. He has this force outside of the natural of San, and I don't see a mothership core with this army, so there's potential for a Photon Overcharge back home to defend, but he can still do a lot of damage in the meantime. Actually run straight up. He will try to target down the mothership core. He can run back into the main base. He can pick off pylons powering these gateways. He can go for the Nexus. TaeJa has options, but San pushing up the ramp into the natural. He's broken the bunkers. Widow Mines in the back trying to clean up Zealots. This whole army is being killed, but the Colossus stepping in range of a missile turret. Always awkward.
Both these players are at each other's throats. TaeJa's inside the main. There is a Widow Mine there, and he's going to get the power, as you said, for those gateways, so forget about reinforcements. The Nexus should be next to go. And here we go. Sand's going to push up in the main. He knows he has to do game-ending damage right now because he's suffering that kind of damage inside his own main. Good force fields go down, trying to get at the Vikings. Doesn't have the range just yet. One of the Colossus is so low on health. It's being targeted by TaeJa. One more shot. He doesn't get it, but the Marauder in the back door does. Still a lot of Sand units here. No Vikings, and it's just SCVs for the most part.
Yeah, Hero Marauder working away at that Colossus, almost picking it off. Now, the probes have come up to join this army very close to that
he's
Widow
just not
mine.
mining.
Yeah, so
TaeJa's not mining.
Yeah, TaeJa's not mining. San isn't mining, but San has enough resources to build a Nexus in his base. And he can try to switch over. This Viking, losing that, that Colossus was quite low on health. There were a few opportunities here to make a move. So it seems that TaeJa, like as a Terran, you can float your buildings into some dead space, but with resources to build a Nexus.
No SCVs. No SCVs. He's not supply blocked by oh, no, okay, well, thank you. No SCVs except for those million ones walking across the map. So here they come. He's not supply blocked, but the big problem here is the bank. He's going to have to float the orbital. He loses the one in the main. He's got the one in the natural. It's exiting right now.
Yeah.
But with all these force fields, I got to give the big favor to Sand right now.
Yeah, Sand
I think so.
He has it together well enough that this force should be able to kill this army if TaeJa were to try to fight him. So TaeJa's got to go for guerrilla tactics, keep his bases moving around, and try to clean up the rest of this tech as quickly as he can, because if San can come back here and reestablish any of this, like killing the Robo was very smart. You want to go for things like Cybernetics Core, delay them from rebuilding, and even this starport is a really big deal.
It's a big deal.
If there wasn't an Observer, or if you had been able to kill the Observer, then even Banshees can be a really great comeback unit in a scenario like this, but he builds the Nexus right in his face.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, this is where I'm going to plot myself, and it is quite an exposed open area, so TaeJa knows where he needs to dance around.
This is an interesting spot. From this spot, he can kind of have a presence around the map. I mean, keep in mind, we're not talking about like a 6 medevac army for the Terran player. He's only got 2. So his mobility is there, and he can pick up the majority of this force, but I feel like every unit TaeJa loses is so important, even 3 Marines coming out now. I did say Sand is the favorite, but I gotta say, that's still TaeJa, and this is Terran, and when you base swap, it's really hard to deal with them. Mules become super important. We saw that a bunch of SCVs did actually leave. And you'll notice he relocated top left. How does Sand ever get there in a million years?
Yeah, so here's the biggest problem, right? You just said it. TaeJa has like that mobility, and as a Terran player, you can lift your buildings off. You can move them around, and he just comes in, he cancels this Nexus. And now we have to start worrying because these Nexus cancels anything that's built, any extra pylons, to try to avoid a loss by elimination. Because if you lose all your buildings, the game's over no matter what. And TaeJa has a ton of supply depots still that Sam would have to go through to even cut off his production. But he really needs to be careful because as soon as he spends enough resources and he can't rebuild his Nexus, TaeJa's he's just going to dance around him for the rest of the game.
This is actually a really cool move, though. If he can ambush up there, he needs to get up there right now. He needs to go after the orbital. If he can kill the orbital, he can drop the Nexus and then wait. Then it's his game. He's getting underneath the orbital. Does he have the DPS to drop it before it floats out?
TaeJa's bringing his forces. I believe one of the pylons spotted these medevacs coming in, and he's going to rebuild the Nexus here in this top left base. A much more difficult location to assault for sure.
TaeJa's feeling the burn. Here he comes.
Yeah, this command center, he should be able to pick it up.
He's going to go after the Nexus again,
so the army's drawn him over. The Colossi, he does need these to actually fight against this force. And now he can actually escape. He could drop a mule and repair.
It's on fire. He's going to have to drop the mule. Now all of a sudden.
TaeJa.
Look at his money, though. When he drops that mule to repair, which he has to do.
He's building a Widow Mine. I'm not sure, like with the Observer out on the map, like we know it's not a great idea unless he was to somehow kill the Observer on this command center right now.
It takes money to repair. This isn't. He's going to try to float over?
Oh, he's going to try to float to the base.
He
drop a mule to mine.
He does have an SCV. The one SCV on the map.
Well, he'll be able to, and he canceled the Widow Mine too, so he has money to fund that repair.
This is what he had to do. And look at that Observer. Now again, the problem resets. So the third, well, here's the thing. The reason this move was so amazing for Sand is he got most of those SCVs. If those SCVs are left up there mining, and Sand can't go near it, because he can't just, partition off. Like, 3 Zealots, you guys go handle that. No, they'll die out in those shark-infested waters from this Terran army right there, and then all of a sudden TaeJa will have a bigger army. But like this, there's a chance. And TaeJa's just going for it.
Yeah, he's just going to run right in. He gets the Colossus, and bio units picking him up, moving them behind these force fields. They just win straight up against gateway units. I'm really blown away that he actually managed to pick that Colossus up. Yeah, he just ran up and pretty much killed him. Now the probes are all dead. That's it. GG. TaeJa takes game 1 after a pretty awkward